Hey everybody, Bryce here, and in today's video I want to talk about a tool that is incredibly important for marketers and online companies to adopt and use to be able to grow your business. And that tool is Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is an incredible tool that's been out for a while, but a lot of marketers and a lot of companies still aren't using it, and I can't figure out why. But in this video, what I want to do is I want to help you understand why this tool is so great, why it's so important, and how you can get started using it. So many years ago, right, before we had these tag management platforms like Google Tag Manager, companies always had to struggle and marketing teams always struggled with getting the right scripts and tags onto the right pages, right? So if you've ever set up advertising campaigns or set up websites, you might have dealt with this. We've dealt with this a ton, which is companies have all these funnels, and when we get started running advertising, right, we need a Facebook pixel on all these pages, we need these conversion tracking script on these pages, we want Hotjar on these pages, we need the CRM tracking script on these pages, right? All of these scripts need to get on all these different pages. And it used to be this big cumbersome process where you would have to make this list and email back and forth with the dev person, figure out, hey, can you put this script on this page and this script on this page? And they would put it on the wrong page, so then you have to email them back and try to figure out how to get it on the right page. It was this very cumbersome task. And then enter Google Tag Manager. And what Google Tag Manager is it's just a little script that you put on all your web pages, right? And then think of it as like a container. Within that container, someone can log into a very user-friendly dashboard and add in and fire any kind of script or tracking pixel that they need to using a set of rules on any page, right? So as long as this one Google Tag Manager container is on every single page, a marketing person or a dev person or someone can go in and easily using their interface just say like, hey, we want to fire this Google Ads conversion tracking script on this thank you page, or we want to fire this Facebook purchase tracking script on this page, right? It becomes very easy to do. You don't have to go back and forth with the dev team. Something that used to take hours now takes minutes. And there's actually a bunch of other little benefits to this, right? You have a lot of improved tracking. You can do a lot of really cool things and send great data to Google Analytics and other places. You don't need to know how to code to do any of this. It's actually taken away a lot of the need to be able to write any kind of JavaScript or anything. Now some like simple marketer who doesn't need to code like myself can go in and set up some pretty advanced tracking scripts and like track certain pieces of information like page scroll and video play length, all of this cool stuff, and it actually speeds up your page, which is super cool, right? All you need to do to adopt it is do a little tutorial on understanding how it works and how you can use it, right? And it doesn't take more than like 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I can give you a full training on Google Tag Manager, and we can show you how to use it for your business so that you don't have to have this cumbersome going back and forth with the dev team every time you need to set up some new tracking or some new ad campaigns. So what we're going to do is let's jump over to my computer real quick, and I'm going to give you a really quick 10-minute tutorial on Google Tag Manager so that you can use it in your business and you can use it to run more effective marketing campaigns. So let's jump over there and do that right now. To get started, you can just Google Google Tag Manager, and that'll take you to the Google Tag Manager site, and it'll set you up with an account. Once you get started, just installing it, you're going to grab your Google Tag Manager script. This is what you're going to want to install site-wide, so drop this, just before the closing header on your site. A lot of themes, if you're using WordPress, a lot of themes will have special areas where you can add tracking codes. So you're just going to want to install this one tracking code, and then fire every script that you have through Google Tag Manager. The only exception to not wanting to fire something through Google Tag Manager is something like VWO with an A/B split test, because if you're using something like VWO, you're going to want that on the very, very top of the page so that loads first. The page doesn't start loading, and then if you don't have it first, your users will experience like a little flicker effect. So aside from something like VWO, firing every script through Google Tag Manager is going to be more efficient. It's also going to speed up your site because Google Tag Manager is asynchronous, which is one way of saying basically once the Google Tag Manager script fires on your site, the site continues to load, and all of the tags that are being fired through Google Tag Manager are being fired on the Google servers and not your own, which speeds up your site speed, your site load time. So after you've installed Google Tag Manager, you put it in the just before the closing header of your website. This is going to be your dashboard. You've got a couple options here on the left. Tags, triggers, and variables. These are really the only important things. Folders is just a way of organizing and overviews your dashboard. So if you've never used Google Tag Manager, just kind of as a general setup, the one thing I would do is come in here and click configure. And you're going to want to make sure that you have these different boxes selected. That'll give you more options as you get more into Google Tag Manager. But that's the only real setup you've got. And then really the only two things that matter are your tags and your triggers. And the best way to explain tags and triggers, the man who has said it the simplest is a guy named Chris Mercer over at Seriously Simple Marketing, and he explains it really well. Tags are, this is what you're telling Google Tag Manager to fire. So this is the actual script or pixel you want to fire, and triggers is basically just saying when do you want to fire it. So what do you want to fire? When do you want to fire it? Real simple. So we're going to start out with the very basics of setting up our first tag, and we'll just install Google Analytics. So as best practices with Google Tag Manager, anytime there's an integration, you see they have all these integrations right here. If there's an integration, you always want to use it because that's just going to be the most efficient way to use it. So like, you could have a AdWords conversion tracking, you could install it custom HTML, but if there is an integration, you're always going to want to use it. If there's not an integration, you've always got these custom HTML tags you can use. But so just to get started, like we'll install Universal Analytics. So here you'll just put your tracking ID. So that's something you can grab from your Google Analytics in your property settings. Just grab your tracking ID and paste it right in there. You want to track page views. And so you're triggering. You just want to fire it on all pages because you're going to want your Google Analytics script on all pages. So I can just say Google Analytics, all pages, and hit save. And now you've just installed Google Analytics site-wide on every page. Let's do another example real quick, something that doesn't have an integration, custom HTML tag. So right now we're going to want to install our Facebook pixel. So I just copy and paste my Facebook pixel right in here. And now I've got my Facebook pixel. One thing I always do with the Facebook pixel is I always come in here into my tag priority settings and set this to like a 5. And we'll explain that here in a little bit, but that's just something I would suggest doing. Again, when do you want it to fire? All pages. Save. This is my Facebook pixel. So now we've installed pretty much the two most basic pixels that most people will want on their site. I can hit publish here, and it's going to publish. It's going to ask me for a description of changes. So this is great if you're making a lot of changes. You can always say, like what the change was that you made, and then what you'll see here is if you ever have anything that goes wrong or something ever gets removed, you can always come back and go back to a previous version, and that's super helpful. So as you build, it's always saving your history. So again, all we've done is install 2 pixels site-wide. So the next thing we're going to do is install some conversion tracking on individual pages using Google Tag Manager. So again, coming in here, tag configurations. So I'm going to install a Facebook conversion tracking, and now that Facebook has switched over to the new standard events, instead of using the old conversion code, I'm just going to use a standard event code. And this is why we set up the Facebook pixel with a higher tag firing priority. You can see here tags with higher numbers will be fired first. And so we want to make sure that the Facebook pixel fires before the event fires. But what we can do is just leave this, because by default it will be a 0, and we set our Facebook pixel to 5. So now what this script is going to tell Facebook to track a lead. When do we want to fire it? Well, we don't want to fire it on all pages. So we need to create a new trigger. And again, this is just telling Google Tag Manager when to fire something. So we know we want to fire it on a page view, but not on all pages, just on some pages. And the answer is, the rule that we want to use is when the page URL contains thank you, because that's what my thank you page URL is. And so this is going to be a thank you page. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to hit refresh right here, and you're going to see this firing trigger come up. So now what we're doing is we're installing we're telling Google Tag Manager to fire this script anytime there's a URL that has thank you in it. So I'm going to publish this. And when I come over here to my thank you page, you can see right now, before I've reloaded it, it just has the page view on it. When I hit refresh, you're going to see that now I'm firing this this lead event, and so that seems to be working just fine. So the really last thing I want to show you is how to use the preview and debug mode, which is going to be one of your best friends with Google Tag Manager once you really start getting into it and really start utilizing the full power of Google Tag Manager. And so what I can do is come up here into the corner and you see this preview and debug. Just hit preview. And so what you'll see here is now we're in preview mode. If I come back to my website and refresh this page, any page that has this Google Tag Manager script installed on it will now have this debug dashboard. And so what this is showing me is I've got the tags and the different variables and the data layer here. That's don't worry about the data layer, but I've got the tags and variables here, and these are the different events that Google Tag Manager is picking up. So come down here to this first page view, and I can see which tags were fired, which tags were not fired, and then if I click on them, it'll tell me this tag fired, and the reason it fired was because the condition of all pages was met. Again, coming back here to the page views, I can come up here to Google Analytics and see that this page was this was fired because the all pages condition was met. This tag was not fired. When I click on it, I can see that's because the first event, this event that the page URL contains thank you, was not met. Same thing here with the Facebook lead conversion. This tag did not fire because this condition was not met. Same thing, I can come over here to the thank you page, jump in here, pull up this little dashboard, and I can see here that on this page view, these 3 tags were fired and this one wasn't. And so when I jump in here, I can see this tag was fired. So this is what script was being fired. And the reason why is because this page URL condition was met. And the reason this one did not happen was because this page URL condition was not met. So this is going to be super handy whenever you're trying to figure out why a tag isn't firing. You can just jump in here to debug mode, and it'll show you tell you exactly what conditions did or did not fire on this event. So we've covered all the basics. You know, the reason we want to use Google Tag Manager is, one, it really cuts down on implementation time. You don't have to back and forth with the dev team. Also, it's going to increase your page load time. So if you don't have 15 scripts that have to load, the only script that has to load is the Google Tag Manager script, and the page will continue loading while Google fires all the scripts off on its server side. So that'll increase your page load time. Then we've got tags and triggers. You know, a tag is basically just saying, okay, what do you want to fire? And a trigger is saying, when do you want to fire it? We've covered installing platforms that have integrations like Google Analytics or Google AdWords. You know, you can use those integrations and just fill in the blanks to get those set up. If there doesn't have a integration already built, you can use the custom HTML option. And then we've talked about how you can fire different pages. You can either fire a trigger on all pages, or you can use different URL rules and conditions in the triggers to fire your pixels. And so, if all that was a lot, you know, Google Tag Manager is you know, like any new thing, it just takes a while to get used to, and you want to play with it. And so get comfortable with it. If that was like, okay, man, that was a lot, then that's all good. If you're like, okay, that was pretty cool, what are some other really cool things I can do with Google Tag Manager? The coolest thing that I think about Google Tag Manager is its infinite flexibility to really do whatever you want and fire any script or code on any action that you want. Let me show you kind of a great example of this. What I'm going to do is create a new tag, and I'll show you what this is. I'm going to call this my click listener. And what I want to do is, let's just fire, you know, we're just going to fire Google Analytics event. I'll show you what this is. Leave that all empty. When am I going to fire it? I want to fire it on all clicks. And I'll show you what this is for. So I've saved my click listener, and I'm going to jump in here into preview and debug mode. Now I'm going to come back to my website,
hit refresh. So here you can see these are the pixels fired. So you see when I click, now that I set this click listener up, now Google Tag Manager is listening for my clicks and it's tracking those, right? And so what I'm going to do is I want to fire an add to cart event every time someone clicks this contact us today. So what I'm going to do is hold down command on my Mac, or if you're on a PC you can hold down control, and that'll open it up in a new tab up there. So you can see the action just happened, right? Google Tag Manager just tracked that click. And when I click on it to see why this fired, I can come up here to variables and it will tell me everything that Google Tag Manager just learned, just picked up when I had that click. And so what I want to look for is unique events that I could use as a trigger to fire it off of. So this variable here, this click classes, when we set that up in the very beginning, this is something that Google Tag Manager is picking up from that click. And so previously, if you wanted to do this, you probably needed a dev guy to come in, do some really custom coding, and get this all to work. Now what I can do is just come in here. I want to do, let's call it Facebook Add to Cart. So I'm going to come in here and set up a custom HTML. I'm going to use my standard event, my Add to Cart. And when do I want to fire it? Well, I want to fire it on a click. Which click? Just some clicks. And we can jump back over here and see, okay, the click class was this string right here, so I'm just going to set click classes, contains. I'm going to drop this string in here, click save. This is my contact us button. Hit save. I'm going to save all this. Hit refresh. Come over here. I'm going to refresh this page. So now I can see that these have fired on these pages. When I click this contact us, on that contact us, I just fired this add to cart pixel. And so that was just an example. I mean, you can do this with Google Analytics events. You can do this with pixels. You can do this with scripts. You can do this with anything you want. So that's the end of the crash course. I hope you found that really helpful, and this really gets you kicked off with Google Tag Manager. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My email is Bryce, B-R-I-C-E, at majorimpactmedia.com, or you can just go to majorimpactmedia.com and shoot me a message there. And that's it for today. Until next time.